Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 58th Annual St. Paul Police Law Enforcement Memorial Service. Please stand for the presentation of the colors. Thank you. Please take your seats. Thank you, Chad Green, and all the members of the St. Paul Police Band. It is my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the 58th Annual St. Paul Police Law Enforcement Memorial Service. My name is Jeff Stiff, and I'm the commander of the St. Paul Police Department's Gang and Gun Unit. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a bill proclaiming May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and that week each year that May 15th occurs as Police Week. This annual service is in conjunction with local, state, and national recognition of officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice and died in the line of duty. At this time, we'd like to extend a special welcome to the families of the St. Paul police officers who have died in the line of duty. Those family members present, please stand if you're able when I read the name of your family member and remain standing to be recognized. Present today are family members of officers Daniel O'Connell, Calbert H. Leadham, Lawrence F. Tierney, Alfred V. Sandquist, John J. O'Brien, Gerald D. Vick, James T. Sackett Sr., Ronald M. Ryan Jr., Joshua P. Lino, John H. Larson, and Timothy J. Jones. Thank you all. Speaking today will be Governor Tim Walz. From the St. Paul Police Chaplains Program, we have Chaplain Patrick Judd. From the St. Paul Police Department, we have our Chief Todd Axtell. Also seated on stage today is Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, Deputy Mayor Jamie Tinchner, and I was going to say last year's, but 2019's keynote speaker, Commissioner of Public Safety, Commissioner John Harrington, as well as members of the City Council, to include from Ward 1, Dai Tao, from Ward 2, Rebecca Naker, from Ward 3, Chris Tolbert, from Ward 4, Mitra Jalali, from Ward 5, Council President Amy Brenmoen, and from Ward 7, Jane Prince. Before we move on, I would like to acknowledge past award recipients from the St. Paul Police Department. Those of you that have received either the Medal of Valor or Medal of Merit, please raise your hand so you may be recognized, and thank you for your bravery and meritorious service. Giving today's invocation from the St. Paul Police Chaplains Program is Chaplain Patrick Judd. Patrick Judd grew up in St. Paul, and he has been a police chaplain for 31 years. He's assistant police on 600 death notification and callouts. As a chaplain for the Tulsa Police Department, he received accommodation from the Justice Department for his work at the bombing of the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. He's married and has 3 children. Please welcome Chaplain Judd.
Let's pray. Father God, we come before you today to pay tribute to the brave law enforcement officers who courageously gave their lives to serve and protect as peacekeepers for the St. Paul Police Department, who because of their loyal devotion to their duties have rendered a dedicated service, and in doing so have established for themselves an enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Lord, we meet here today with the solemn understanding that none of these St. Paul police officers gave their lives in vain. Long after all speeches will be forgotten, the memory of the ultimate sacrifice they made will be forever remembered. We do not view them as fallen, but they have actually risen to a greater place of honor. Although it is fitting and right that we give honor to whom honor is due and pay tribute to these brave officers here today, even more importantly, we know that you, who are the great God of peace, do honor and esteem them as well. They were not only servants of the people of St. Paul, but servants of you, Lord. May we always salute their valiant deeds. They are true heroes in courage and honor. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Tim Walz is Minnesota's 41st governor. His career has been defined by public service, from serving our country in the military to serving our students as a high school teacher and a football coach. He has served our state in Congress and is now our governor. Governor Walz is working in partnership with Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan to build one Minnesota, where we work across lines of difference to build a state that works for everyone. Born in a small town in rural Nebraska, he moved to Mankato in 1996. Tim won his first election to the United States House of Representatives in 2006 and was reelected for another 5 terms, serving Minnesota's congressional district. After living in Mankato, Tim and his wife Gwen moved to St. Paul with their 2 children, Hope and Gus, and their rescue cat Afton. Please welcome Governor Tim Walz.
Well, thank you, Major. Deputy Mayor Tincher, and to the elected officials. Chief Extell, a deep debt of gratitude and thank you for your many years of service to this city and this state, and to the women and men of the St. Paul Police Department for doing exemplary work day in and day out. To the survivors that are here today, of the 28 who gave their life in the line of duty, amongst the 298 in Minnesota, there are no words that will be spoken from the podium that'll ease your pain. But there's a responsibility of those of us, the living, and those of us who are benefiting by the safety and security that your loved ones provided, to mark this day and to hear those names. This public service work, public service in general, but public safety work is challenging in the best of times. In the times we're living in now, it becomes almost impossible. But each and every day, the people you see here and those that made the ultimate sacrifice get up, leave their families, knowing that someday their families could sit in these seats. They do it without expectations of thanks or praise. They do it because it provides their neighbors with the most precious of gifts, the ability to not have to think about the tough things that have to be done, to not have to think about the tough decisions or the danger that may be there. And it allows folks to go about their day to day, maybe wondering what's going on in this park. And to those folks who've gathered over their lunch hour, thank you for coming here. But the folks who aren't here does not mean they don't have gratitude for it. It means that the work you do provides them the peace of mind that they don't have to think about or wonder what it is to sit in these seats, or to know what that pain that doesn't go away. It just changes with time. And it's important to come here and say the names. And it's important to pause in our day. But I think it's more important for each and every one of us to try and live our lives of service the way these family members' loved ones did. By each and every one of you who go out there and know it's hard and provide that service. And maybe not only get a thank you, but actually get scorned in the place of that. But for all of us, that responsibility makes this a state where everyone can truly thrive, where everyone can see themselves as something bigger and as part of their community. So on behalf of Lieutenant Governor, myself, and the nearly 6 million Minnesotans, today is that day to pause, to remember those names, and to make sure that each and every one of you standing in front of us today, and those public safety officers across Minnesota, know that your service does not go unnoticed. It does not go unappreciated. And it certainly makes Minnesota a better place. So on behalf of those citizens, to the family members, may you find peace in the memory of your loved ones, and may you know that their sacrifice improved the lives of so many who they will never know, but who are benefiting from that sacrifice. May God bless each of you.
Thank you, Governor. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our next speaker, who on June 1st will retire from law enforcement after 3 decades of serving our city and our department. For the past 6 years, he has led our department through incredibly turbulent and challenging times. Through it all, he stood for trust, service, and respect. Please join me in welcoming our 41st Chief of Police, Chief Todd Axtell.
Thank you all very much. If you don't mind, I just want to take this first page and throw it off to the side there. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Appreciate you having our back today. One What a sight, what a magnificent sight, as this will be my last Memorial Day service presiding over it. And it's been a wonderful opportunity and to be here with the families and friends and colleagues and heroes in the audience. It's just truly an honor. So thank you for being here today as we remember, mourn, and honor 32 Guardians who lost their lives serving and protecting this great city. In a moment, we will sit in silence as a bell tolls and their names will be read. Each name will echo in our minds, and each striking the bell will feel like a blow to our collective souls. Each toll represents a life cut short, a family left without, a police department missing a piece of itself. Each toll a reminder that the safety of our guardians and our society balances on the sharpest edge. And these 32 officers gave their lives to maintain that exact balance. But it's not only these officers who gave everything. They were sons, husbands, fathers, and brothers. They were classmates and partners. They were guardians and guiding lights for what is right. They were loved, and they were taken from us and taken from their families far too soon. And I see many of the loved ones here with us today, loved ones of the fallen. And to you, on behalf of the St. Paul Police Department, our entire department, I want to extend our deepest sympathies. Our hearts ache for the indelible pain you continue to endure. You are always and always will be a big part of the St. Paul Police family. And you know, we are a family. So we stand together in good times and in bad. We honor the legacy of our fallen by carrying the torch for which they gave their lives. Police officers are beacons of hope and safety and good in a world that is all too often filled with darkness and filled with pain. You all walk with confidence into uncertainty. You help the helpless. You bring back the lost from the dark forest of despair. You see the unimaginable. You experience the implausible. And you hear the unspeakable. And yet you keep coming back day after day and night after night. To the law enforcement officers who are with us today from all agencies, I simply want to say this from the bottom of my heart: thank you. Thank you for putting that uniform on each and every day and putting the needs of others, people you don't even know, in front of your own needs. Thank you for stepping up and answering the call to serve, knowing full well the challenges you do and you will encounter, the dangers you will face, and the often thankless duties that you perform. You do this because you possess a guardian's heart, because you care about this wonderful city and state, because a career in law enforcement, as you all know, is more than a job, it's a calling. And you answer the call each and every day in search of justice for victims and in search of the very important truth. And there is truth in what you do. There is truth that today, as in the past, we are fortunate to have people of high moral character, those who are kind, humble, honest, peaceful, and fair, serving and protecting all of our communities. In St. Paul, our guardians are among the best of the best. They are the women and men who carry the legacy of those who have come before them, including our 32 fallen heroes. So today, as we gather, remember, mourn, and honor the St. Paul police officers who have died in the line of duty, and certainly the families they left behind. I ask all of us to remember that the sisters and brothers in blue are still out there protecting, serving, and putting their lives on the line for all of us. And what better way to honor the fallen than by respecting and appreciating those who are following in their footsteps. Now, in a moment, the honor roll will be read, and the bell will toll 32 times. And I pray every night, and I will continue to pray every night, that there will never be a 33rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, the wreaths will be presented in honor of our department's heroes who have paid the ultimate price for our safety and security. Please stand if you're able. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Police Federation is being presented by Federation President Mark Ross and Officer Coleman Ruchow. The wreath donated by St. Paul Police Retirement Association is being presented by Retired Sergeant Dan Collins and Retired Officer Molly Lannon. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Reserve Officers is being presented by Mary Murphy and Jeff Caswell. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Police Explorers is being presented by Maddie Peterson and her father, Officer Michael Peterson. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Police Chaplains is being presented by Laura Rose Paradas and Jose Cabal. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Foundation is being presented by Rick Vasquez and Todd Vanderhort. The wreath donated by the St. Paul Law Enforcement Career Path Academy is being presented by Kua Yang and Simeon Every Roro. Thank you. You can please be seated. The St. Paul Police Federation Memorial Bell ringer today for today's ceremony is St. Paul Police Officer Jessica Stiffarm. Officer Jessica Stiffarm is a police officer with the St. Paul Police Department and is assigned to patrol in the Eastern District, where she currently works the afternoon shift. Officer Stiffarm has worked as a patrol officer for 10 years and has been with St. Paul PD for the last 6. In addition to her patrol duties, Officer Stiffarm is a member of the department's Honor Guard, the Women's Leadership Team, Mobile Field Force, and Crisis Negotiation Team. Enlisting in Minnesota Army National Guard at the age of 17, Officer Stiffarm has been promoted up through the ranks to the position of First Sergeant for the 147th Human Resources Company. She's also a member of the National Guard's Native American Special Emphasis Council. Officer Stiffarm has 18 years of military service in the National Guard, which includes 3 deployments overseas, including both Kuwait and Afghanistan. Officer Stiffarm has been awarded multiple medals for her service, both to her state and country. Officer Stiffarm's dedicated her life to public service, to include the last 10 years as a police officer to the citizens of Minnesota, and services to our country for the last 18 years. Officer Stiffarm, thank you and your family for your service. Chief Axtell will now read the roll call of the department for the department's officers who have died in the line of duty.
Honor guard! Attention! Get down! Attention!
Daniel O'Connell. Hans Hansen. Thomas McCarrick. Charles Mayer. James W. Finn. Richard Cronin. Frank W. Frazier. Michael P. Sullivan. Hans G. Amo. Paul H. Godfrey. William W. McClintock. George R. Stegner. E. Earl Packard. William F. Wilson. Frank Milanowski. Albert J. Canine. John Schultz. Fred A. Peach. Calbert H. Leadham. Axel J. Soderberg. Matthew M. Weiss. Lawrence F. Tierney. Richard G. Hinshaw. Alan G. Lee. Alfred V. Sandquist. James T. Sackett, Sr. John H. Larson. John J. O'Brien. Ronald M. Ryan, Jr. Timothy J. Jones. Gerald D. Vick. Joshua P. Lino.
Detail! Present! Arms! Honor guard! Present! Arms! Everybody, prepare fire! 3, volley! Ready, aim! 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2
You can be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask Chaplain Judd to give the benediction.
Let's bow in prayer. Lord, we are respectfully aware of the honored presence of the families and loved ones of these officers who have died valiantly in the line of duty. We fully realize how feeble are any words of ours which would attempt to lessen the grief from a loss so overwhelming. Yet we are compelled to offer each family the solace that may be found in the thanks of the city and the citizens they died to protect. I pray, God, that you may continue to relieve the pain of their bereavement and leave them only the treasured reminder of those they've loved and lost, and the reverent dignity that is owed to them because they paid such a high price toward the cost of our great freedom. Thank you, Lord, for comforting and healing the broken hearts of the families and friends of all those who have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. Today we grieve. We do not grieve as those who have no hope. This hope is promised in your word. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. Lord, we pray that you keep alive their memory and that you protect those who valiantly serve today and who are currently involved in law enforcement, that you would continue to guide, shield, encourage, and protect them as they uphold your peace. In your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. As we begin to close out today's ceremony, I would like to remind everybody of why we are here today. It's days like today's, as difficult as they are, we are here to remember, in valor, there is hope. There's a quote that I read on days like today because it serves as a reminder on how to live my life, specifically how to live my life as a police officer. And I look around the crowd today, and I'm very careful when I say this, because I've got this quote, one from my father, and another from an old retired copper. Every second here on earth is a gift, and I will never let it slip away. Each day that I'm alive, I will be better than I was the day before. When life gets hard, I will work harder. I don't make excuses, and I face my challenges head on, and I conquer them. I refuse to be average. The world may try to keep me down, but I will prevail. I'll never be outworked, out-hustled, or outsmarted. If you run 6 miles, I'll run 7. If you lift 200 pounds, I'll lift 250. I will win because losing is not an option. I have never come across an insurmountable obstacle. The world does not provide barriers. It provides unlimited opportunities. And if I get knocked down, I'll get back up and be better because of it. Telling me something can't be done only further ignites my desire to succeed. And I know the road less traveled was difficult, but diverting from it was never an option. The only person responsible for my success is me. And in the final moments looking back on my life, I will have no regrets. I will left no stone unturned. The sacrifices made, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the countless hours put into my craft will not be in vain. This is what makes a police officer, and this is who we are. Today's ceremony was about remembering the sacrifices made, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and today we honor the officers who are with us and those of us who are not. In closing, I would like to thank all of you for attending today's service, especially the officers from the other agencies, as they helped us honor ours as we honor theirs. We must always remember the fallen officers and honor them for making the ultimate sacrifice. Please let us remember those who are actively supporting our country through military service. I'd also like to add a special thanks for everyone who made this memorial service possible. A special thank you for Jennifer Harrington and Stormy Dunn, who without their organizational skills, this does not get done. And keeping me on task. Please join us for the service for cake and refreshments. I now ask that you stand for the retirement of the colors. Sergeant Davis. Please retire the colors.
Honor guard. Attention. Detail. Attack. Hot. Honor guard. Right. Face. Forward. On. Detail. Reset. On. Left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Honor guard. Mark time. March. Honor guard. Halt. Honor guard. Left. Face. Honor guard. Forward. March. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left. 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 Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left. Left. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Detail! Honor! Up! Honor guard! Halt! Honor guard! Dismiss! Detail!
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We appreciate it.